there's blood everywhere. And I'm like, this is the moment. This is the moment when she dies and the baby dies, because I felt it. She was not breathing, hardly had a heart rate. They pretty much pronounced her pronounced her dead in the ambulance. But they were like, hey, what do you want to do, Dad? And so I was like, listen, give me my daughter. And I just grabbed her and I started doing compressions.
Oh, we all know it. That's the thing. It's like, you know that they pay your doctor to give you this, and if that doesn't work or if it's causing you side effects, then I got this other thing. And sometimes now you have two, not just one. We're not switching, we're adding.
Yeah, I mean, the concept of prescriptions, it's more like they should have used the word subscription, because that really resonates with people better when it comes to what's actually happening. Like, they are subscribing you to a membership that requires you to be sick, to be a member. He died the next night. We were all there. We had a family. Yeah. It was like a week and a half after he stopped doing what I was having him do. He was dead. That took all the wind out of my sails when it came to cancer specifically. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to treat people with it.
Welcome to the Life Shift Lab, where we explore how to be your authentic self, bless the world around you, and build wealth in the process. Today, I've got an amazing guest in Polley. He has been reaching tons and tons of people, helping them walk free of chronic illness. We're going to talk about the ups and downs of how he got there. We're going to talk about the dark night of the soul and how some of the beautiful gems that he's sharing with people now have come from real struggle, real pain, real hardship. And that's how many of us find our biggest blessing and our biggest gift to the world is through the fire. Looking forward to this episode, and I hope you enjoy it. Welcome, everybody. I got Polley here. He's a registered nurse. He's got over 20 plus years of experience in the ICU, in the ER, in critical care. He's got an online community of 1,000 plus people where he's teaching them how to be your own doctor. So preemptively, what are the things that you can do to understand your body, understand how this all fits together? And before you get those orange bottles with the white caps, you're going to look at this stuff. He's doing some amazing work. His philosophy is genetics write the recipe, the lifestyle bakes the cake. Welcome, Joel. Super happy to have you. And one thing I forgot, labor delivery experience. You got a brand new baby there, and
yeah, man.
You did the job there.
Yeah, bro.
What was that like?
Thanks for having me, man. It's an honor to be here. So I've had a lot of experience in the hospital, but recently had a baby, like you're saying, and things definitely did not go as planned. So we were planning to start labor and then go on over to the hospital and kind of finish things out there. But this is number 6, and so she had another plan, and she came out fast, but she came out not head first. So that became a really complicated situation. So I had to jump in there, man, pull her out limb by limb, and it was a mess. And just miracle after miracle after miracle, because she came out not breathing. Apparently, breech births, you only have 7 minutes to get the baby out. I didn't know that, thankfully, but still, it just took us a lot of time to get her out, and she was not breathing, hardly had a heart rate. They pretty much pronounced her pronounced her dead in the ambulance. But they were like, hey, what do you want to do, Dad? And so I was like, listen, give me my daughter. And I just grabbed her and I started doing compressions, brought her back. And she's happy, normal baby now today, 1 month later after being in the NICU for a month. But long story short, bro, miracles do happen still. So yeah, that was my labor and delivery experience for sure.
She looked, saw the picture, she looked nice and juicy now.
Oh yeah, man, we bumped her up in the NICU, man. Lots of breast milk. So.
Yeah, what was the what's the rate? Because it's significant, right? Do you know what the rate is of fatality or mortality on the breech birth babies?
Breech births, well, first of all, they're very rare, and then secondly, like I said, you have 7 minutes, and so most breech births just cannot come out in that amount of time.
Yeah.
But by the time I saw that it wasn't a head, like for Annie, my wife, to push a backwards baby out, it's like trying to, you know how when you grab a fish and you rub backwards, like every little piece catches, like that's how it is when a baby comes out backwards, man. It's like every limb is just like not supposed to be coming out that way. And then her head got stuck. She was sideways and her head was stuck because everything like clamps around the neck. And so, yeah, it was a mess. So yeah, fatality is very high. And then once you get to the NICU, that whole process, because they had to cool her for 72 hours. They put her on ice for 72 hours to protect her brain. So they breathed for her. They had glasses and earmuffs so she couldn't see, couldn't hear, and like just zero stimulation and cold. Just cold for 3 days. And they're like, we don't know if she'll wake up from this. Like, we warm her back up, but we don't know what's going to come out of this.
That's like a roller coaster of from a parenting standpoint.
I'm telling you.
What was it like in the delivery moment? I mean, that's got to be, you don't have time to stop and think through the dynamics of like, hey, this is, I mean, I know in real time, like this is real bad when you see you saw the foot come out first, right? Is that kind of
right? So like as soon as we saw it was breech, I told Annie, I was like, that's not a head. She was like, call 911. But we live out in the country, so we're talking a minimum of 25 minutes to get help. And so they were on the phone, but they were useless. So like immediately I just like, God, I need help. That's all I could have time to say. And then I had my daughter run and get the midwife book. And so I don't know if you've ever been in an emergency situation, but looking through an index to try and find a subject and then flip to the page and then sit and read line by line while somebody's like actively dying next to you is not easy to do. So that was first for me, was like, just because I, as an emergency room nurse, I've been in a lot of emergency situations, but never one that I have zero control over. It's my loved one, and I'm the one to get her out of this situation, one way
or not,
or failed and lose them both,
Man.
And so, yeah,
so it's like a surreal process. Are you even processing like where's your head at?
Thankfully, my nursing training kicked in, my ER training kicked in, and I was able to just tune out her screams because she was all folded up, right? So I had to go up, get one leg out. And so then one leg was out, and I'm like, now what? Like, I got to find the other one, but I didn't know which side of the body I was working on. Whole time Annie is just screaming bloody murder. Like, she said the pain, she's never had pain like that, dude. Never. And let me back up. Like, I'd had a premonition that this birth was going to go badly, and so had she. And so
what was that? What did that look like?
It was just this feeling like Annie wasn't going to make it. The whole, like, a month leading up to this birth, that's how I felt inside. I didn't say it. I didn't tell her, obviously. But she felt the same way. It was a couple days before. She was like, listen, I've had a really bad feeling about this birth. Do you think I'm going to die? And I'm like, he's going to ask me that. Like, I actually do feel that way.
Or you told her yes?
No, I played it off. But dude, I'm like, it's out of, I was like, it's out of our control. Yeah. I was like, it's out of our control. It's not something we know. It's in God's hands. But inside, I'm like, yeah, that's how I feel. So then she's standing at the side of the bed, dude, with a leg hanging out, and she suddenly like gushes bright red blood. There's blood everywhere. And I'm like, this is the moment. This is the moment when she dies and the baby dies, because I felt it. Like I had this premonition. This is the moment. Bro. Like, I can't even explain that. And then to like power through that, stay focused, and still pull out that other leg, bring the body down. Then her arms were stuck. One arm, the other arm. Then her head was stuck. I'm holding this like 8-pound baby in one hand trying to like get her head and not break her neck because she was like slippery and flip it, bro. Yeah, and so I was
breathing.
and she wasn't breathing. She moved when her first foot came out, but by then she was blue. Yeah, she was blue.
Yeah.
At that point, and there was a knot in the umbilical cord too. All that to say, dude, yeah, mentally, like I was zoned in, but I had no clue what I was doing. And I just felt that God was just like doing everything through me. Cause I was like, no clue what I'm doing, dude. I'd never read about a breech birth. I'd never done any of that. And just, I was like, I got to get this baby out or they're both going to die. And it was wild.
Man.
And then fire department shows up and they're like,
That is
you know more about this than we do. I'm like, oh, well, that's good to know.
very comforting.
Yeah, it was wild.
Man, what a ride. So have you crashed? Have you crashed yet? Because this is all recently. Because this sounds like a scenario where you just keep going. Have you?
Oh,
you been able to kind of land and just
no. In fact, today I think it was the first time where I just like literally sat and did nothing all day, and just felt like my body was like, okay, I can't do anything. But yeah, it's been a month. We got back last Thursday. We spent 30 days in the NICU. And it was just me and Annie in a room staring at our child on the bed, like for 30 days. And that was a whole nother set of experiences for sure. So we are not the same people we were a month ago.
Man, what a crazy story, and in a good way. You know, at the end of the day, I mean, it's always good to have a happy ending and the silver lining. What an intro.
Did you plan that? I don't know. Was this supposed to be part of the podcast?
Hey, let it go where it goes. 20 plus years experience and some real experience, even at home. What got you into the place where you are now? Because you're not on the normal path. You had training that did not take you in this direction. So I'm curious, like what landed you in this space? And I know there's been some you recently been getting some crazy traffic because people are dying to hear what you're offering.
Yeah, man. My journey definitely is not a normal one. So I grew up in West Africa. My parents were missionaries, and I think that was probably the first time where I got a taste of just needing to figure out how to treat people without the normal capabilities. Like we'd have people come to our house just because we were American, thinking that we had all this medical training. We had none. Like we had no medical training at all, but they would come with crazy injuries. I remember one time we had a lady that had this huge abscess on her hand, and it was like she was in excruciating pain. And one of the guys was like, "We've got a lancet." And we're like, "What?" So like we had all these people on our porch holding this lady down, cutting her hand open, draining it, all this pus coming out. And I'm just standing there like, this is like what it's like to have to deal with just life-altering sickness without medical care, you know? And in that moment, just having certain people there that actually knew what to do and how to fix it afterwards and put charcoal on it to bring the swelling down. And then to see her face like a couple weeks later to come and just be like, I am so thankful like that you guys did that. And we were just like, dude, yes, I do what we were doing. So that was like my first taste of natural means and methods. And then fast forward to COVID, you know, I'd been a nurse like 15 years by then, and seeing what happens when you have to turn people away from the hospital. Because if you didn't have COVID, you were bottom of the priority list for everybody. Didn't matter what you had. And so repeatedly having to see people fend for themselves. And that just really, I strengthened my desire to teach people that, you can't rely on the healthcare system. You've got to know at least the basics. And what most people don't know is that the basics are in your kitchen. And it's that simple. Like, what you have in your kitchen are things that you can use to treat your family and keep them out of the hospital. And that's really controversial, but it's what I do with my kids. I have 6 kids, and, we don't do medications. We don't do doctor's visits. We don't do a lot of things because we know the side effects. And you can Google and fill your, inbox with all kinds of information about what the side effects do to kids. And World Health Organization and all these guys are finally acknowledging it, but it's so ingrained in our society that, it's hard to step away from. I get that, but you at least have to know the basics, because if it all crashes, you need to know at least what to do to help your kid if they've got a cold or they have a spider bite or something like that. So,
but how did you get there though? Because you're trained in the system.
Yeah.
And there's good things about the system too. I know you're not telling people like, hey,
nah,
cold. You're not like, hey, let's cold turkey this thing. And
I always tell people, dude, there's no herb that is going to help you if your leg gets amputated in a car accident. It's just not there. And so there's very, very important parts of the medical system that will always be there. But when it comes to chronic illness, it's just something that they've monetized to the detriment of society. So, yeah, that's all. But how did I get here? That's a good question. I'll
getting into dangerous stuff. Oh, we all know it. That's the thing. It's like, that they pay your doctor to give you this, and if that doesn't work or if it's causing you side effects, then I got this other thing. And sometimes now you have 2, not just 1. We're not switching, we're adding.
Yeah, I mean, the concept of prescriptions, it's more like they should have used the word subscription, because that really resonates with people better when it comes to what's actually happening. Like, they are subscribing you to a membership that requires you to be sick to be a member. Because if you get well, you're no longer going to subscribe. And
I get it.
Yeah.
No, it's like so it's one of those things where, and it's hard to tell, like, because the system seems to be set up that way. It's hard to tell, like, who's actually understands and sees this stuff and who's really trying to make the best of this world. And it's tricky. It is tricky when money and when you incentivize people this way. But yeah, how did you see this other path?
Yeah. So it was actually Annie that really started it. Like I said, I had been exposed to it through my childhood and stuff, but I didn't really practice it. And so
this is West African, because you said your family didn't necessarily have the training. They just came to you because you were from the States.
Yeah. And so we were like,
is this several countries, or is it one?
It was Mali. No, it was in Mali.
So you're at Mali.
Yeah.
And so you were exposed to kind of local medicine.
Yeah. And so they did go to a 2-week training before we went overseas at a natural health institute. And they learned just really, really, really basic natural remedies like charcoal. And so it showed up in really powerful ways for us when we were there. But it was like, we really didn't know in depth anything. But again, that was like a thing in my head. I'm like, okay, we hardly know anything. This is really basic information, but it's doing such incredible things beyond what the hospital is even capable of doing. And so
elementary level is getting you somewhere.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Surprising.
Exactly. And that's been the basis of my message now, is like, it's got to be simple. It's got to be something in your kitchen. It's got to be something you can get from the grocery store. And, those are the things, because God has created health to be available to everyone. Doesn't matter if you have a dime to your name or you're a multimillionaire. Health is the great equalizer in society, but the healthcare system has figured out a way to make that discrepancy. So how did I get there? Well, Annie, when we first had our first child, was really interested in figuring out a better way to treat. And so she started like talking to different facilities and saying, hey, do you have any training available? Well, there's one out in Colorado. Got
When you
back.
say treat her, was she sick?
No, but just like, just regular stuff. Like if she gets a cold, not have to give her ibuprofen and Sudafed and all that kind of stuff. Like, what do we do naturally?
Yeah.
And so,
is there a reason? Is it just she had a sense about her? She had heard some stuff, or it's just...
Well, I think a lot of it came from her sister, Sammy. Her sister was very into natural things. And at the time, like her and I kind of looked at her sister kind of sideways, but deep down, we knew that, that's really a better way to go, not to have to give our kids all these medications. So we were new parents, and she was very interested in at least having some basics. So this facility out in Colorado reached out to us and said, yeah, we have a training. It's a 3-month training. You guys can come out. We house you and everything. And so I was a travel nurse at the time, and all my contracts were 3-month contracts. So I was like, this resonates with me, Perfect. Think of it as a contract. So we went out to California. I did a contract. And then at the end of that, we went to Colorado. I got in the program. And so I'm learning, and, she's kind of absorbing passively, taking care of the kids, and I'm telling her what I'm learning in class and stuff. And man, just the depth to which I was able to go into knowledge of natural methods, because we were treating primarily cancer patients at that facility. And so it's not just like colds and flu.
At the natural facility.
Yeah. And so it was very, very deep, not only on a physiological level that surprised me as a nurse, but, the spiritual and the natural, the methods, was just really eye-opening and astounding to me. So
what are you seeing there? What's happening with the patients?
So what's crazy is like, I thought natural methods to like help people in their blood sugar, manage their diabetes a little better, or manage their blood pressure a little better. That's what I thought going in. And so by the time like I'm treating cancer and leukemia and all this stuff, the diabetes was like something that would disappear in a matter of days for people.
Say small stuff.
It was like nothing, bro. It was like trying to treat the flu at that point. And that blew my mind that we were reversing diabetes in a matter of 3 days. Blood pressure was normalized in 2 to 3 days. Like people were off their pills by the time they left after a week or two at this place. But cancer, in this one guy we had, and some of them actually did surgery and then would come for like recovery. But I remember this one guy, he had surgery, had some cancer removed, came to our facility, and he was getting white blood cell shots to boost his immune system at the hospital, local hospital. But after we were done with him, the doctors were like, dude, what are you doing? Like your white blood cell count is not dropping like normal in these patients. And he started telling them like, I'm over at this facility and they're putting me in hot water and they're giving me these teas and stuff. And they're like, well, whatever it is, you keep doing it. And that guy's still kicking, man. He's overseas. He's a missionary overseas, still doing the thing. But a lot of that kind of situation, they'd come there, their cancer numbers would drop. And so cancer was my thing, bro. Cancer was my thing. I was like, I've got to do this. I've got to make this a thing, because people just don't understand how easy it is to eliminate the cause of and your body will do the rest, between you and your body and how God designed it in us.
What was it like living in the two worlds though? Because you're still that's so interesting. You're still you're working at a hospital which doesn't operate at all like that. And it's interesting that the doctors like keep doing it, because I know in some cases they're like, hey, we we don't condone that. Like I know people that have done natural methods and they are helping to reverse some of the causes or some of the symptoms that they're seeing. And the doctor's like, we don't know about that. But, it's like, well, the patient's like, okay, you don't have to know about it, but it's helping. So, but you're walking two worlds. What is that like?
Yeah, bro. It's, when I was there, I had a very hard stance against the hospital. And it was just like, I'm never going back. I don't ever want to set foot in a hospital again. Like, I'm going to go full steam warpath against the hospital. So it took time. And like right after that period of time when I'm like completely anti-hospital is when my dad gets cancer. And so that like is where it really brings in this feeling of, okay, I need the hospital right now to help my dad, but I'm so against it. And then when they failed to help my dad, like they opened a movie.
You need it. What do you need it? Like, why wouldn't you just go the other route?
Well, so I wasn't there, first of all. Like I was in Colorado, he was in Maryland. And so that first period of diagnosis and exploratory surgery was something that like in my first choice, but it was like, he needed to do that. He needed to find out what was wrong with him. And so that was the first time when I had that, that tug back and forth and realizing that there is a place for the hospital. There is a place for doctors and surgery and to do their thing. But then I was like, okay, I'm still trained, I can do this. And so I was like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to treat him. We're going to get rid of this cancer. And we left that facility. We quit because at that point I was actually an employee there. And we quit. I moved to Maryland to start treating him. And it was intense. It was intense. I did all the things that I was trained to do, put him on the diet, was doing the hot water treatments and all the things, got him a sauna. It was really tough, but there was pieces of it that I didn't know still. And that was more like the emotional aspects of like the reality that he was feeling things that I wasn't acknowledging, in things like he just knew that this was it for him, and he was kind of going through the motions for our sake. And
how can you figure that out?
Well, by the time I figured it out, he doing actually pretty well. And the first indication...
Did he tell you that?
Well, no. So his labs were telling me. So his cancer numbers had almost dropped to nothing, and still very depressed and still like giving up in things that were just like... And I'm like, dude, like, You're walking 2 miles a day, like your colon is open now, like it had completely been obstructed by the tumors in his colon. Like he had no ability to have a bowel movement. But that was all reversing. He was having bowel movements. He was walking 2 miles a day. His cancer numbers were almost down to nothing and all this stuff. But he was really, really tired of the regimen I had him on. And, in his mind, he had these feelings like this was it, like this was the end of his road. And he kept saying stuff like that. And we were like, just, stop saying that. Don't talk about it. And he kept saying how, he just wanted to spend time with us. He wanted to go maybe do something special. He ended up figuring out a way to get us into the Pentagon, to tour the Pentagon, me and my brother. It was just a really cool trip. And just kept saying things like that. And I wasn't hearing it, I wasn't letting it sink in. I wasn't embracing that. And so that was a piece that I now tell people when they're treating cancer, when they're treating end stage stuff naturally, that there's more to it than just the physicality. Like there's the emotional, there's the spiritual side of things that you have to be in tune with. Are they interested? Are they wanting to get better? Like, or are they just tired and they feel like this is the end of their rope? When he finally was just like, you know what, I want to do something different, in doubt, and he went up to Detroit to take a break because we'd been there for like 4 months, just every day, like treating my dad. And so we were like, okay, we'll take a break. He's tired. He wants to do something different. Went up to Detroit. Annie's sister was having a baby, so we helped her for a week or two. Got a call from my dad. He was like, hey, my brother, David was coming into town. He's like, hey, I want you to come back. We're going to do some talking about long-term, with my treatment and stuff. And so like, okay. So I came down and he died the next night. We were all there. After a week? Yeah. It was like a week and a half after he stopped doing what I was having him do. And that like took all the wind out of my sails when it came to cancer specifically. Like I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to treat people with it. Like just anger, a lot of anger, and like, why did you let me train all this stuff? And then my dad wasn't able to be helped by it.
Why God? You're asking God.
Yeah. Okay. And still processing a lot of that. But, to answer your question about the push and the pull, like it's been a journey, like, and it's only been in the past 6-8 months where I've really come to terms with, I'm trained as a nurse for a reason. Like I've spent 20 years in the hospital for a reason, and I cannot just cut that out and ignore that piece of who I am. And so instead, I've been trying to learn how to blend the two, and not in a way that compromises, but in a way that speaks the language of people that all they know is the hospital. All they know is aspirin and, Tylenol and ibuprofen, lisinopril and metoprolol, like all these, that's their language. And so in order to speak that language, many naturopaths have trouble. They don't have the training. They don't have the understanding of even the body like a nurse does. And so it's really been valuable to be able to speak the language, to know how to say even the words metoprolol, and to be able to resonate with people that are still there wanting to get off these things, and share with them how easy it is, and how simple the remedies are that God has put in our kitchen. So
it's interesting. I was thinking recently, and even today, I was thinking about how both, I've been thinking about Moses and how Moses could speak the language of the palace.
Yeah.
And also of the people. And then I realized Joseph was kind of the same way. Like they didn't even realize that Joseph spoke Hebrew.
Yeah. So, right.
Like he had assimilated that well.
Yeah.
Right. And so it is a gift, but it was a painful gift. And with you, I mean, that's a lot, man.
Yeah, it is. And it's very unique. And it's very, like the labor and delivery story, for instance, like it's showed up in very profound ways that had I not had the training as a nurse or the training as a naturopath, situations like that would have gone very, very differently.
Yeah.
So it's been a blessing. I just haven't always embraced it as such, but I'm learning. So
no, it's a tough is tough, I think. My father had a conversation with me right before his death that I did not understand. And I look back, definitely like a source of, like, there's grief. At the same time, like, the only thing I can do with that and have a more informed approach with the next person, and have like another dimension of understanding about what's happening here and what to do about that. And as I'm curious for you, what does that look like? Does that play into how you think? Because now you're interacting, and I know, because we had a conversation about this. You had stuff really started jumping for you. You've been avoiding, and you kind of alluded to it a minute ago. You were avoiding cancer for a long time. So you're talking, you're teaching natural health. You're doing seminars locally. You're talking about it in the ways that you show up online, and but you had not been talking about cancer, and you started talking about it, and boom, like your stuff just spiked. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, I think that too, was a big journey and maturity, for me, because, we've known each other a long time, and you've seen me through so many different phases of my intensity when it came to natural or hospital or how I feel about this or that, and learning to moderate those things in a way that reaches people. The cancer thing specifically, like, I was so angry. Like, I just was like, I'm never going to talk about it again. Like, I'm not. And then, I did a TikTok on it, and I just had a frank conversation, with my audience about cancer and some of the things that are in society that cancer, basically. Things we're eating, the things we're wearing, the things we're not doing and we should be doing. And it took off, and it was one of my highest views at the time. And for me, it was also like one of those things where it's like, you have within you, regardless of what other people think, you have within you this knowledge and this understanding. And it's not so much that you have to be all in on cancer and just natural, but you have to let out what you know in a way that reaches people and doesn't get you banned. Like, there's that moderation, because being online, there's so many things that you can and can't say, and, ban you and all these kinds of things. And that made me angry too. Sometimes I was just saying stuff just to be like, I just want to get it out and I don't care if, but all of that to say, like, it's just a maturity that's been over time, where it's been like, I have to accept that retraining. I have to accept what I know, and I have to reach it in a way that really resonates with people and starts in a simple, non-threatening way. Oftentimes my anger has wanted to be threatening. I've wanted to be threatening to the system and all these types of things. Conspiracy theories are like, have always been my jam, and like, but no, like, you cannot speak that language and hope to get anywhere. And so, yeah, it's just been a journey, man. It's really, really been a journey, and a long journey, not just these last few months when I've been taking off. Like, it's been, and I think you were reminding me of that. Like, it's not just a coincidence. Like, it's been a really long journey of learning to be not only moderate in how I speak, but consistent in saying the simple things.
So interesting hearing your story, because you're not discarding any of it. Which some people do. Like, you're like, oh, this is bad, this is good. Or you're like, hey, I'm going to bring together all of who I am, and I'm going to celebrate all of it, and I'm going to also filter what needs to be filtered. And I think that, it takes time, it takes maturity, it takes patience, a lot of things. There's a refinement process through fire, oftentimes. But my observation here, especially around the cancers, there are times I think some of our gifts to the world are forged in the fire.
Absolutely.
And they are at the place where we really sit with our pain and accept it and say, you know what? For pushing, this is part of my journey, and if any, I cannot undo it, but what I can do is I can help someone else in their pain. And the language. It's interesting to hear you say, like, hey, there was another dimension that I did not understand, but I cannot forget, because it is so imprinted on my life now, like with what happened with your father. And so, and there's things that are like that with me, that it's just like, there are things that I could never possibly forget just because of how painful it was. And so when you're able to sit with that and you begin to understand the language of pain, that's what people respond to.
Yeah.
Because it's like, when that's all you can think about, when cancer, or when the high pain points of our lives are really kind of bullying us, like, that's the only thing we can hear. Like, it's like being starving and trying to do anything, or being exhausted and trying to, like, think or read a book. Man, all I want to do is sleep. And when people are in pain, that's all they want to do is alleviate the pain. So when you can come in and speak their pain point and say, hey, I've been there and I know what it's like and I can help, and you have that unique insight, like you're bringing together all of who you are. And I think that's beautiful, but I know it's been a painful process to get there. And I applaud you for pushing through that.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't easy, and it's like, I can't even take credit. I can't even, like, look at a point in my journey where I was like, I got this, I'm going to just push through. Like, I have had so many ups and downs, and it's just been basically God grabbing me at the bottom and just dragging me up by, I'd say, the lock of my hair, but I don't really have hair, but, just like dragging me up against my will sometimes. And Annie, my wife, just being there, and, every time I messed up, just, saying, all right, let's keep going, I guess, but yeah, to your point, like, it's just, there's so many experiences, even when I was at the bottom, there's so many things that I've experienced and felt that now, when it comes to people that I'm helping with their physical, I can look in their eyes and I know it's not just about their physical, and that's when I'm able to talk about the other parts that are also equally as simple. Dealing with stress is one of the biggest things that I run into with people. High blood pressure, the number one cause for high blood pressure is stress. And the number one cause for stress is past pain. It's not your job. It's not traffic. It's not, your
body keeps the score.
Body keeps the score, man. And when we don't deal with it, it becomes a snowball. But the easiest way to undo that snowball is just by being grateful. It's just by being grateful, saying what you're thankful for every day consistently. 25 things in the morning, 25 things in the evening before you go to bed. Retunes your brain to focus on things that are actually going okay for you. Like, you can breathe. And I've been in so many trauma bays where if that person could breathe, they would give everything they had in life just to breathe, And so there's so many things that are just going okay for you, or really well, but you're so focused on that snowball. Your body is just so focused on that you have to train your mind to do the simple thing. That's my thing, bro, is just teaching people. It's really simple. It's available to everybody. We don't have to complicate it, but you do have to be consistent, and you do have to be intentional.
This is one that's in this medicine cabinet. It's in this cupboard, in this pantry, that you can activate. And I've been working on that recently. You talked about being at the bottom. What would you say to yourself now, when if you had a chance to sit with the Joel that was at the bottom, when life is at its worst? And I ask this because I've been there.
Yeah.
And I know that there's people listening that are there, or they know people that are there? What's different now? You have a different set of insight. You've kind of come out of it, and what's knowing what you know, being able to speak the language. What do you have to say?
It's about the wave. There's a verse in Proverbs that I love because it's Solomon, I think, really trying to say this, but in a way that it's profound even for him. And he says that there's 3 things that he doesn't understand. And one is a snake on a rock, the other one is a ship in the sea, and the other is a man with a virgin. And in my understanding of that, it's all talking about the wave. Life is a wave. And whether you're trading stocks, whether you're sitting at the ocean just watching the water, everything is about a wave. And so when you are at the bottom, you are at the bottom of a wave. You will not stay there. It will feel like you will be there forever. But there is nothing in life that remains at the bottom. What goes down must come up. And so that is the thing that I would say to Joel at the bottom, because I'm at the bottom. I was like, this is it. I'm done. There is no coming back. There is no coming up. I've done so much damage to all the people that I love that there's no way that they will ever see me any differently. But those are all the thoughts that the devil has to use to keep you down, because the devil knows that life is a wave. What goes down has to come back up. You can destroy that uplift, but you can't keep it from happening. You will come up. And so that would be my message. Life is a wave.
And that wasn't it, and you weren't done, and you're millions of views later worth of people that are happy that you weren't done. Tell me, I know you have I know you have lots of stories, but give me one. Give us one of that you're saying, hey, of gratitude, this is the impact, because I think that, when you're doing something that you enjoy, and when you're doing something that aligns with your skill set, then that place where it also meets the needs that people have, and a meaningful service both for you to give and for them to receive. Tell me about the impact. That's a sweet spot right there.
Man, and what's crazy is I didn't even know. I mean, I kind of knew. I've been doing TikTok for a while, and you get some comments that are like, hey, I've been watching your stuff. I love your videos, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, okay. Are you doing anything I'm saying? That was my thing. But
so this isn't even one of your because I know you have a coaching community too that you do. So you're doing some more intensive stuff, but this isn't even from one of your intensive people. This is just somebody who saw your content online.
Yeah, bro. That's been really what's been impactful to me, has been really seeing people comment and say, I have been following you on TikTok for several weeks or a month, done what you said, and I've lost 20 pounds, and I've dropped 2-3 of my blood pressure pills. My blood pressure is normal now. I'm having conversations with my doctor about, weaning off these medications, just on and on and on. And again, it's I'm not used to people actually doing what I say, because it's been this journey of back and forth, and me trying to pound this message into people. But now I'm just in this place where I'm I need to be simple. I need to share with people the simple things in life that God has placed, and not overcomplicate it, and not connect it with my anger, and not try to bring my trauma as a weapon, to tell people that you've got to stay out of the hospital, or, it's a terrible place to be in. But understanding people's pain, people have a need to feel better, and there's just not a lot of answers out there. And so being that answer, being the gentle voice that says, listen, I know it's hard. I know that you don't think that you can get over your high blood pressure. I know that doctors have told you that diabetes is a lifelong diagnosis, but I'm here to share with you that there's some things that you can do that will change the numbers on your labs, and the doctors will have to admit that whatever it is you're doing, your body's healing itself. And that has been just the switch in my message that has made the difference.
That's powerful. Where I know your TikTok is going crazy. You have several videos north of 500,000 views because people are just eating this stuff up. What is the best place for people to connect to? People that really want to go deeper and try to understand the medicine cabinet, both inside themselves as well as in their pantry. Is TikTok, is it school? I know you do some deeper coaching and you have some programs there. Is that the place? And we'll put the stuff in the show notes.
Yeah. BraveWorks RN on TikTok, and How to Be Your Own Doctor on School. Those are the two best places right now. Still tweaking a few of my ecosystem, my website and stuff right now, but those are the two best places to get a hold of me. And just send me an inbox on either one of those, and I try to answer all my inbox messages. So if you really have a desire to be coached, I'm definitely available for that. And so it's something that you can have a head knowledge about, but oftentimes you need somebody to just walk you through the steps and have that accountability, and have that encouragement that you are on the right track. You may not feel good, but you are on the right track. You are going somewhere, because that's what I needed, at different points in my life, even though I had the head knowledge.
Joel Polley, thank you. This has been amazing. From the labor and delivery to the naturopathic health. Appreciate you being so transparent with your journey, and it's beautiful to see. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, bro.
I really appreciate you being here. And if this added value to your life in any way, please consider liking, sharing with somebody that you know will benefit from it, and following for more. See you next time.